Well, let's go now to the airport in Goa because the Chinese President Xi Jinping is arriving. As you can see now, the red carpet has been rolled out and the officials are in place waiting for, and there he is at the door, coming down the stairs, and a very big wave, of course. Very happy to be in Goa for the 8th BRICS summit, which begins this weekend in the Indian state. Now, it's going to be a very important event, of course, as all BRICS summits are, because they bring together the emerging nations, and this is the 8th time that the annual summit has been held. So many people have been anticipating the visit of Xi Jinping over the past weeks. It's something that they have been looking forward to, but at the same time we have to point out that security is very, very tight. That's not surprising, of course, but India has had terrorism high on its agenda, so we will see a lot of the measures taken to have special protection, of course, for everybody attending this summit. Well, let's get a Chinese perspective on all of this, because we're joined in the studio by Su Xiaowei, of course, who is somebody we know very well, and always glad to have you to give us analysis. Su Xiaowei, Deputy Director of the Department of International and Strategic Studies at the China Institute of International Studies. Well, while we're watching the arrival of Chinese President Xi Jinping, perhaps you can give us your take on what the BRICS summit will be all about this weekend.
Well, I have to say that this is a very big event, not only for China, but all for the other 4 countries in this framework. In recent years, all the 5 countries have experienced a lot of challenges, especially in the economic development. So this is an important chance for the top leaders to talk with each other and to find out kind of solution. And this year, China has already had a very important event, the G20 summit in Hangzhou, China. So this was kind of preparation, a starting point for the 5 countries to work for the future.
Yes, well, Xi Jinping there obviously being welcomed, of course, and Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister, will be hosting his visit, and his walk now around the red carpet will take him to a march past, or walking past the troops that have been lined up there for this special welcome. As the official procedures continue, Su Xiaowei, what do you think some of the goals will be for the BRICS leaders at this particular summit? Because you mentioned that, you know, the economic challenges are there for some countries more than others. So it's a position of great change, isn't it, since the last summit was held even?
Well, I have to say that this year the leaders, first of all, they will exchange experiences. Well, as you mentioned, that the BRICS countries are facing challenges, but some of the BRICS countries are doing well, like China and India, but some suffered from great difficulties, like Brazil and Russia. So it is a chance for the leaders to talk with each other and to try to provide experiences or try to communicate with each other how we should do in the next step. And another thing I suppose they would talk about is innovation. I mentioned that China has already had the G20 summit, and the key word of the G20 summit is innovation. And during the G20 summit, the leaders from the BRICS countries also met with each other and had an informal meeting. So on the meeting, they talked about maybe we should focus on innovation to try to provide some driving forces for domestic economic development. So in the summit this time, they will again talk about the keyword innovation and try to find out kind of driving force. And another thing is that they would like to talk about developing countries. The BRICS countries are not only 5 countries, they represent the interests of the developing countries. So it is a chance for them to try to sum up the developing countries to focus on development.
And Xi Jinping now leaving the airport. He will be going to the hotel where he's staying, but he will also be, of course, getting ready for the first round